Mr. Speaker, mothers and fathers who sought a safe haven for their children watched helplessly as their children were being snatched away from them by our government. These families were fleeing unimaginable violence. They had no idea where their infants were being taken. They had no idea the treatment that they would receive. These parents, in many instances, still have no idea where their children are located or how to communicate with them. The Trump administration established no formal process to return these children. I am terrified at the thought that these parents may never see their children again. If the parents are deported and their children are sent all over this country, how will the parents find their children? Just imagine the mother from El Salvador who is deported back to El Salvador, who came here dirt poor to begin with. She gets deported back to El Salvador. Her child is sent off to New York. How is she ever supposed to find that child again? It appears that the only real plan was to separate families as a deterrent to legal immigration. Coming to America should not mean permanently losing your child, especially if you came to America and it was not illegal. If you came in search of asylum, that is not illegal immigration. This zero-tolerance policy will have a lasting effect. Pediatricians and health experts agree that child-parent separation will result in neurological damage. I will tell you that I have received numerous phone calls from experts, pediatricians, social workers, child welfare workers. The other night, I even received a very long email from a distraught, internationally known psychologist, Dr. Phil McGraw. He shared with me his concerns about the impact child-parent separation will have on children. He highlighted that when children are torn away from their parents and raised in institutions without a stable caregiver, it disrupts the formation of attachments. The children become anxious and fearful, and this can last for years, if not a lifetime. Dr. Phil also expressed how this impacts a child's brain development, which can lead to negative health and well-being outcomes. We did this, and now we must undo this. If our government did this policy of separating children from parents, then it should be our government's responsibility to reunite those parents with those children, whether they remain here in the United States or especially if they are deported. This proceeded without a plan, without foresight, and without a second glance at the law or what we stand for as a nation. This is chaos. And that's why I'm calling for a vote on my bill, H.R. 6236, Family Unity Rights and Protection Act, to require the federal government to reunite the parents with the children, to establish a database of children separated from families, and to make sure that parental rights aren't terminated. We are told that parents can communicate with their children, but let me ask you how a parent in Los Angeles would communicate with a child who's 6 months old in another state. Can I?
The gentleman is
My
recognized
bill
for an extra
also
30 seconds.
requires a report outlining the short and long-term effects on these families and proposed solutions. As it is, our foster care system is already overrun with over 400,000 children. We know that these kids are in detention right now, but ultimately they will wind up in foster care. Because of the opioid crisis, we don't have enough foster homes for kids that actually need to be in care. The long-term neurological effects that I describe even apply to children who should be removed from home because their parents have either abused or neglected them. So even when the children should be separated, that separation causes tremendous harm. So we can, just 30 more seconds.
30 seconds.
The gentlewoman is recognized for
If
another 30
that's
seconds.
what happens to children who should be removed from home, we must call for an end of state-sponsored child abuse, because that's what this policy is. This is our federal government that is abusing children. And that's why I urge my colleagues to vote no on the motion on ordering the previous question. I yield back my time.
The gentlewoman, California yields. The gentlewoman